Welcome to Rest is Best, the podcast that empowers you for the benefit of all. Welcome in, everybody. We're diving deep today into the world of Candice O'Denver. She's fascinating. Not your typical spiritual teacher. She was a math whiz at Yale, then switched to philosophy at UCLA. She even skipped undergrad and went straight to grad school. Talk about a serious seeker of deeper understanding, huh?
Yeah, it's quite a background. So what are we digging into today?
Well, a big question in Candice's work is this. Why does she think looking for antidotes to negative states is not an effective solution?
I have some thoughts, but let's see what she says.
But first, let's lay the groundwork, understand some of her key ideas.
Sounds good to me. Lay it on me.
All right, so one of the foundational concepts for Candice is this idea of points of view.
Okay, I've heard her mention that.
It's not just about opinions, though. It's deeper than that. It's like everything we experience, thoughts, emotions, sensations, even our sense of self.
Even our sense of self.
Yeah, it's all just points of view arising in awareness.
So it's not just like seeing things differently. It's the very way we perceive reality is built on these points of view.
Exactly. Pretty mind-blowing.
It is. It kind of reminds me of like a mirage or those holograms. They look real, but there's no actual substance there.
That's a good way to put it. Candice actually uses those examples too. And get this, she applies that same logic to our sense of self, saying it's not a fixed thing, it's just another point of view.
Okay, now that is really messing with my head a bit.
Right. Makes you question everything. So if our sense of self is like fluid, a point of view, how does that affect how we experience negative states?
Yeah, good question.
This is where her take on antidotes comes in.
Okay, let's hear it.
So we often try to find antidotes to negative states, like medication or distractions or certain practices.
Yeah, sure.
But Candice suggests that by doing that, we're still operating under the assumption that these negative states are real and powerful.
So we're trying to fix something that might not even need fixing.
According to Candice, yeah.
I mean, that's a bold statement. Where's she coming from with this?
Well, it's deeply rooted in her own experiences. She's very open about a time in her life when she was struggling with intense negativity.
What did she do?
She tried everything, support systems, distractions, you name it, but nothing really got to the root of the issue.
So she was really in it.
Yeah. And that's what led her to this idea of resting as awareness.
Resting as awareness.
Instead of fighting negative states, it's about seeing their true nature as empty appearances within awareness. Just letting them be.
Huh. That sounds, I don't know, almost passive.
I know, right? Like we should just ignore our problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not quite it.
It's not.
Resting as awareness is not about ignoring or suppressing. It's about fundamentally shifting our relationship with our experiences.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's recognizing that we are not our thoughts or emotions. We are the awareness in which they arise.
Oh, I get it. So it's not that the thoughts and emotions aren't there. It's that we don't have to get totally caught up in them.
Exactly.
But that sounds really tough, especially when you're dealing with like seriously intense negative emotions.
I hear you. And Candice really emphasizes gentleness and self-compassion in this practice. There's no pressure to reach some perfect state of Zen or whatever. Even like falling down is part of the process.
So embracing the messiness of being human while cultivating awareness, that's interesting.
Right. It's a paradox.
Totally.
And this paradox extends to the potential benefits she talks about, like mental freedom, wisdom, love, energy, even positive change in the world. But she's careful not to make promises about specific outcomes.
So it's not about achieving some state. It's about changing your relationship with experience itself.
Right on.
Yeah.
And this is where Candice's own life becomes really relevant. She was successful early on, awards, recognition.
Oh, yeah. I think I read she was even named one of the outstanding young women of America or something.
That's her. But still, something was missing. It was through facing her own negativity and rejecting the conventional ways of dealing with it that she found her path.
Sounds like a real shift from seeking validation outside to finding it within.
Exactly. And she even uses a really interesting example of like the biological urge of sexual desire.
Okay.
She questions the idea that we're just puppets of our biology.
Oh, yeah?
And suggests there's a way to move beyond that limited point of view.
I'm intrigued.
So it all comes back to resting as awareness, right?
Yeah.
Is that the key to mastering these seemingly powerful forces within us?
Maybe, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around why she thinks seeking antidotes isn't effective. What do you think?
Well, she uses this really compelling analogy. She compares our beliefs about negative states to like ancient superstitions about curses and spells.
Oh, interesting.
Those beliefs really held people captive, limited what they did, and made them super fearful.
So are you saying our beliefs about negativity are like modern day curses,
Yeah.
giving power to something that doesn't actually have it? Exactly. Just like those old superstitions, these beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies. If we believe we're powerless against negativity, well, we act in ways that confirm that belief.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we break free? How do we actually start resting as awareness in our everyday lives?
Candice really emphasizes that it's a practice, not a quick fix. It's about cultivating a new way of relating to our experience moment by moment. She suggests starting small, just noticing that space of awareness that's always there, even amidst all the thoughts and emotions.
So even a brief pause, taking a breath and noticing, hey, I'm aware, would be a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that awareness is our home base, our true nature. Everything else, thoughts, emotions, sensations, they're just visitors passing through.
That's such a beautiful analogy. It creates this sense of spaciousness, like we're not our thoughts, but the space in which they arise.
That spaciousness is key. It's what allows us to observe our experience without getting all tangled up in it, without feeling overwhelmed.
And Candice's own life really embodies this. She faced incredibly difficult circumstances, things that would broken most people, yet she found peace and freedom in the middle of it all.
And she's clear that this isn't about becoming some emotionless robot. It's not about denying our feelings or pretending everything's perfect. It's about recognizing that even the most intense emotions are just appearances and awareness.
So we can still experience sadness, anger, fear, all of it, but we don't have to be ruled by them.
Exactly. We cultivate a different relationship with them. We can see them like waves passing through the ocean of awareness. The ocean's still vast and undisturbed, even as the waves crest and crash.
It's remarkable how such a subtle shift in perspective can have such profound effects. And it all circles back to resting as awareness, recognizing our true nature as this spacious, unchanging presence.
Candice highlights that this isn't a passive state of withdrawal. It's actually a source of immense energy and power. When we're not consumed by our internal battles, we have more energy to engage the world, to actually make a positive difference.
So it's not about escaping the world, but about showing up more fully, more authentically.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that our true power lies not in controlling our experience, but in aligning with this deeper awareness that's always present.
I'm starting to grasp the depth of her teachings, but I'm still pondering that initial question. Why does she believe seeking antidotes is not an effective solution?
Seeking antidotes keeps us fixated on the problem, on what we're trying to get rid of. It reinforces the belief that these negative states have a reality independent of our own awareness.
It's like we're constantly shining a spotlight on the monster, making it seem bigger and scarier.
Exactly. Candice's approach is radical because it asks us to do the opposite. Turn off the spotlight, stop feeding the monster, and just rest in the spacious awareness that's always there no matter what's appearing.
This is such a paradigm shift, challenging everything we've been taught about handling negativity.
It is, and Candice acknowledges that this can be a challenging path, requiring us to let go of deeply ingrained beliefs and habits.
So it's a journey, not a quick fix.
Absolutely. But it's a journey worth taking because the rewards are immeasurable. A life of greater freedom, peace, and fulfillment.
This is all incredibly fascinating, but a part of me wonders how this plays out in real life. It's one thing to understand these concepts intellectually, but how do we apply them when we're faced with real challenges, real negativity?
That's a great question. Candice actually offers specific guidance on integrating these teachings into our daily lives, navigating those difficult emotions, and cultivating a deeper sense of peace and well-being.
Sounds like there's a lot more to explore here. I'm really eager to delve into the practical application of these ideas.
Let's do just that. Candice's insights provide a valuable roadmap for navigating the complexities of human experience with greater awareness and skill.
Okay, so we've spent some time with Candice O'Denver's ideas on awareness, her thoughts on seeking antidotes, and her alternative path of resting as awareness. But let's get practical, all right? How can we actually use these teachings when we're hit with, stress, anxiety, fear, all that fun stuff?
Well, Candice makes it clear that this is an ongoing practice. It's a gradual shift in how we relate to our experiences. It's not like we suddenly become enlightened beings who never feel negativity again.
So it's not about erasing these feelings completely. It's more about changing how we react to them.
You got it. And Candice actually offers some pretty down-to-earth tools to help with that. One of the main things she suggests is simply becoming aware of the feeling, but without judging it.
So instead of that knee-jerk, ugh, I hate feeling anxious,
Yeah.
it's more like, okay, anxiety is here.
Exactly. That simple act of acknowledging the feeling without pushing back can be really powerful. It gives you some breathing room. You can observe the feeling without getting swept away by it.
Like taking a step back from a whirlwind of emotions and watching it from a calmer place.
Exactly. And from that calmer place, we can start to see the feeling for what it truly is, just an empty appearance and awareness. It's not some solid, permanent thing, just a wave passing through.
And that's where resting as awareness comes in, right? We're not trying to shove the feeling away. We're just resting in the awareness that's holding it.
Right on. Candice encourages us to find peace in that spaciousness of awareness, knowing that this space is always there, even when the waves are crashing all around.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those really intense emotions, the kind that feel like they're swallowing you whole? How do we use this during a panic attack, for example?
That's where the practice becomes even more important. It's about training our minds to come back to that spacious awareness, even when it feels impossible. Candice often compares it to working out a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets.
So it's about building up mental resilience. Each time we successfully navigate a tough emotion using this approach, we're better equipped to handle it next time.
Exactly. And Candice stresses that this isn't about becoming emotionless or pretending we don't have feelings. It's not about putting on a mask of everything is perfect. It's about learning to handle our emotions with skill in a way that doesn't create more suffering for ourselves.
I like that. It feels empowering. Like we're not just victims of our emotions. We have a choice in how we respond.
And that sense of empowerment is one of the beautiful things that can come from this practice. As we learn to rest as awareness, we naturally develop greater equanimity, wisdom, and compassion.
So it's not just about dealing with the negative stuff. It's about growing positive qualities too.
Absolutely. It's about connecting with our true nature as spacious, wise, and compassionate beings.
All right, before we wrap up, let's bring it back to that question from the beginning. Why does Candice O'Denver believe that seeking antidotes to negative states isn't an effective approach?
Remember how Candice keeps emphasizing that everything is a point of view? When we seek antidotes, it's like we're trying to fix a mirage. We're still caught up in the idea that these negative states have a reality of their own, a solidness they don't actually have.
Like trying to swat away a shadow, we stay focused on the illusion instead of seeing the true reality of awareness.
Well said. This deep dive has given us a taste of Candice O'Denver's teachings. We've looked at her unique view on awareness, her critique of seeking antidotes, and the transformative potential of resting as awareness.
So as we finish up, I'd like to leave you with this. What if all our experiences, even the tough ones, are just appearances in this vast space of awareness? How might life change if you approach it with that sense of spaciousness and non-judgment?
And remember, even just a few moments of resting as awareness can make a huge difference. We encourage you to experiment with these practices and discover for yourself the power of resting in the spaciousness of your own being.
Let us know in the commentary section below your questions or topics you'd like us to treat for the next deep dive. And remember, rest is best.
Rest